Hey, Riccardo here. Welcome to 10 different ways to use Smartlead API for outbound efficiency, part 2. So in the first video, which you can find in the description, we talk about the first 5 different ways to use the Smartlead API. Today, we're gonna go through the last 5 ones. So if you didn't watch the last video, you can find, as I mentioned, that in the description. And without further ado, let's start off and let's show what is actually possible right now with the Smartlead API. So the first point that I have to do is automatically adding a client. So if you have an onboarding functionality and if you are using onboarding, you can use one of the endpoint to automatically add a client to the system, whether that is white label or not. So in this way, every time one of your clients is onboarding and needs to complete an onboarding form, they need to perform a wide set of different actions, and they need to complete this onboarding. And once this is completed, the client can go through this automation. So this automation lets them first off create the Google Drive folders for them related to the client, where you can store whatever kind of information, asset, or copy related to that kind of client, create the communication channel, and then the Smartlead add to client is a part of that. So you can also improve the experience in the initial part, and the client, once the client onboards, it's automatically assigned to Smartlead and can have access to your own Smartlead and can see all the metrics, all the things right from the start. So this is the first one, step 6. Step 7 here is about stopping or pausing our automation. As I mentioned, this, if you saw the previous video, we showcase a reporting system and a completely automated reporting system. And this is a component that can be integrated directly within that specific system, so that you can check for specific anomalies related to your campaigns, such as example could be a bounce rate higher than 3%. And if that's the case, automatically stop the campaign or perform any sort of action. So the other use case here that is pretty common is when you want to stop a campaign during a holiday period like Christmas or whatever kind of period. So you can use the following endpoint, and the automation looks something like the following, where you get all the different information from the main campaign stats, the daily campaign stats, and then at the end here we have a condition that checks if the bounce rate is higher than 3%, we pause the campaign, and then we issue a bounce rate warning directly through Slack. So this is another useful example of another endpoint that is actually available here. The 8th point is removing emails / blocking campaigns if their reputation is below a certain amount. So this is especially useful when you incur in a lot of bounced emails, or if the reputation of your emails goes below a certain amount. So the scenario here would be something like the following. You're running automated tests, so you're using lookups, you're using MailReach to check for deliverability issues within your email. And then the moment the reputation of one of those emails goes under a certain threshold, you trigger the following automation. So this is an example of an automation that can be created. What we mainly do here is we either check for specific campaigns or specific emails. So when we check for specific campaigns, we set the status to stop for that specific campaign. If, for example, more than 2 emails have a spam alert or something along those lines. On the other side, if we just have 1 email, what we have over here is we get all the campaigns. We identify the specific campaign where that email was present. So we use a multitude of different API endpoints within Smartlead to get all the campaigns, get the associated email account to each active campaign, and then if the email is associated within that campaign, what we do is we remove that email from the campaign. So in this way, you can actually, this is an additional measure for spam checks that you can use where if an email is having reputation problem and you don't want to screw up the campaign, you can run this an automation like the following and auto remove the email from that specific campaign. So that is another possibility over here. Next, what we have is adding bounce emails to do not contact. So here, the idea here is we want to make sure that email that bounced are added to the do not contact list and are never contacted again, so that if we re-add those emails through the lead list, we don't have any problems because those are already in the do not contact and those emails are not re-added. Here, mainly 2 endpoints that we use. First off, we use the point related to statistics, which we also use in other instances to get the replied email. But this endpoint can show us replied email, can show us open email, can show us sent emails, and all sort of different kinds of emails. So in this use case, we will use that for bounced leads and bounced emails. So once we get that, what we do is we create the block list. So we create a comprehensive block list with all the emails that are present in that specific campaign. And then we use this other endpoint to automatically add leads to a block list. So in this way, those leads are not contacted anymore. And another thing that you can use, another thing that you can do is in the same endpoint is you can set up an automation where if the lead category is no interest or do not contact, the person is automatically added to the do not contact list. So this is another additional possibility over here. Now we will go with step 10, which is campaign creation. So in this part also it's another very interesting thing because even campaigns can be completely created and completely and also published if we wanted to with the API. So the idea over here is let's use a form to create the campaign, and then through the form the campaign is automatically created. Now this is a simplified way of doing that, or doing campaign creation, but there also could be more advanced ways of that, where you can create snippets of different parts of the campaign that you want to use, and then you can create the finalized email, and once the finalized email is created, you can auto-create the campaign also through that. So those are also additional possibilities and additional things that can you about that. So in this specific use case, what we do is we use we use 2 different endpoints from Smartlead. We use the first endpoint to create the actual campaign. So there's one endpoint to create the campaign base, so the initial campaign, where we just need to add a name to the campaign. And then in this automation that we created over here, we create different email sequences based on whether those are present or not. So for example, here we have email sequence 1 is present. So if email sequence 1 is present, we perform this kind of actions where we first off transform the text to HTML, create the email sequence, and then collect the email sequence. We do this sort of collecting because we just want to have all the sequences in one single place in the end when we actually create the campaign structure. So we do this for sequence 1, sequence 2, sequence 3, sequence 4. Ideally here we could add however many sequences we would want, and then in the end the final automation here uses the Smartlead endpoints to automatically add the campaigns to the campaign structure, assign the campaign ID, and then potentially you can also go till the point of auto adding all the leads to that specific campaign and launching the campaigns and going forward. So As you can see here from these two videos, Smartlead allows you so many possibilities when it comes to the API. You possibly also have the opportunity to go from having a system set it up to completely automating the whole workflow of campaign creation, campaign operations, different things around the operations, responding to the campaign, and different things like that. So really, really, really powerful tool in the email space. Hope you like these videos. I have a bunch more coming out. If you have any questions about these automations, let me know, and I will also respond to you. We'll give you a couple of insights on how any of those can be actually created. Hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.